So the goal is the goal. Okay, he's gonna just try to. Yeah.
What's up, Lite Nation? So as most of you probably know from watching our YouTube channel, I am married to an addict. Unfortunately, I'm probably married to one of the most expensive addictions that exist, and that's a car addiction. You have a problem.
I do.
He has a problem. You wanna know why? Because it is currently Saturday at like 8 a.m. and Thursday is drift week. Now, if you guys will remember, we sold my C6 Corvette drift car because we weren't using it. We weren't really drifting as much as we were hoping to. And so we sold it. We sold it to buy a buggy, which we use all the time. It made sense. We didn't sell any of our vehicles, and yet somehow this just showed up in our front yard.
It did just show up. I don't even know what happened. This guy just shows up. And he's like, do you want this car? I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Get the paddle.
Kevin bought another Corvette
doesn't work anymore,
specifically just so we can go to Drift Week in a few days.
Now I got work to do.
Not much.
It's mostly set
There's only
up.
2 mods that need. This thing is fully set up, caged, ready to go with the Z06 wide body. It's not a Z06, but it's a Z06 wide body kit on it. Big APR GTC 500 wing. Looks sick. It looks sick. Anyway.
So we have a few days and a few things to do to get this thing fully prepped, although it is pretty sick. To get it fully prepped for Drift Week. And then, of course, once it's prepped for Drift Week, we have a week and a half of tearing the out of it on tracks across the West Coast with Aaron Losey and Lone Star Drift and a bunch of other super rad drivers. Okay, I would be lying if I did say that I wasn't kind of excited about this, or that, like, it doesn't look super good. And maybe there's 2 addicts in the family. But anyways, that's besides the point. Right now, as you can see, we're dressed for the gym because we were about to leave for the gym. We're gonna unload this thing, park it. We're gonna go to the gym because aside from being an awesome assistant in the shop, Beck here has also been our personal trainer. So we're gonna go to the gym. We're gonna get a workout in.
Oh, is that why you're dressed all funny? I mean, cute. What?
And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna get this thing prepped.
Not yet. I can't reach though. I'm like.
What were you saying?
So, all right, here's the thing with this car addiction is that each vehicle has a very specific purpose. Like most normies, most normal people
Who don't have 10 cars.
Yeah, so most normal people, what they do is like my dad. My dad has a Ford Edge 4-door all-wheel drive thingy. Like that's so it's 4 doors. You can fit people in it. It's comfortable. It's all-wheel drive for the snow and whatnot.
It gets you from A to B.
It gets you from A to B and probably gets good gas mileage. And that's what normal people do, right? They just buy a car.
You keep saying normal. That's what intelligent people do.
Yeah, that's what
smart people do.
Correct,
That's what people who have their life together do.
But
we are none of those things.
My brain works in different ways. A vehicle shouldn't just like do everything boringly. Each manufacturer makes a specific vehicle to do a specific set of like skills and jobs. So
Are we on Taken right now?
Yeah, we're on Taken. I have a very specific set of skills. So with me being in automotive, I want a car like specifically for drifting or for road racing. I want a buggy specifically for rock crawling. The Jeep, and hey, the Jeep, you know what? The Jeep does it all. It's got 4 doors. You can fit 5 people in it. Minus the fuel economy.
Because we put a Hemi.
The F450 gets 20 miles to the gallon unloaded.
Okay, so I will say this. He kind of has a point. At least all of our vehicles run.
All our vehicles run.
And all of them do serve a very specific purpose. They all serve a very specific purpose, Chris.
Chris is here, welcome. Hey, hold on. I got to throw some of this on Chris because he was telling me before we sold the other Corvette, he was all happy about, yeah, I really like drift cars and everything. The Corvette's going to be super awesome to work with you guys and mod it. And then I sold it and he goes, man, I was so sad when you guys sold that drift car. And I was like, don't be sad, buddy. I'll buy another one.
That's not how that went. I got an ultimatum one day. Should I buy a drift car or another side-by-side? I said, what are you going to use more? He said, the side-by-side. I said, perfect!
No, not even. What happened is he said, should I buy a drift car or a side-by-side or a Unimog? And somehow we have all 3. We didn't pick and choose. There's a Unimog in the back. There's a in that garage, which we haven't even talked about yet. And there's a Corvette now. Somehow he got all 3 of the things. So
Sucker!
Okay, so gym time is over. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have the boys actually walk around this vehicle that Kevin bought and show you what he got for the money that he spent.
It was half his fault. I'm just going to say it. Like, see? Chris, you got the drift car you wanted us to have.
Oh my God!
All right, we'll start off. This is a 2007 C6 Corvette. Now, it does look like it's a Z06. It is, in fact, not a Z06. The guy who owned it, a couple guys before, put the whole Z06 body kit on it. So it's got the bumpers, front and rear bumpers, fenders, quarter panels. Most people just buy those pieces, and that's it. The guy went a step kind of above and beyond. He actually got all the inner fender liners and trims and brackets. So it's very expensive when you go that way. So this car, I paid a bit much for.
Well, we paid $29,500 for this vehicle. And just so you know, these were not worth that a year and a half ago.
Pre-COVID, this is a $20,000 car maybe.
But post-COVID and post everything else, this is a really f***ing expensive vehicle. So not everything is sunshines and butterflies. Unfortunately.
Yeah, whatever. It's in pretty good shape. It's got quite a bit of miles on it. It's an LS2 car.
How many miles?
130,000 or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. But it does have a cam. It's got some like valve springs and a couple little things here and there. It does have headers, some long tubes with no catalytic converters. No Cadillac converters.
No Cadillacs.
No Cadillacs. And then it's got MagnaFlow exhaust the rest of the way. It sounds pretty good. It's a little quiet, but it sounds pretty good. Yeah. Stuff with the door trim panel just isn't attached. It is caged. And it's not a very intrusive cage. It's kind of nice. It does have a Sparco halo seat with the removable halos. It's got a steering wheel.
E-brake.
It's got knuckles. It's fully set up for drifting, right? It's got TE37s in blue, which is not very common. TEs on a Corvette is not very common. And then it's got an APR GT C500 wing. Down here, the little side skirts. Those are kind of about to fall off because
Not really attached.
I can't touch the pedals.
Like,
your arm should not be that straight when you're driving.
And then show them the front.
And then,
Whoa.
And he's,
ow, can you, oh, thank you.
oh God.
Fucking fingers, crusher.
There it goes. It catches on the front bumper quite a bit. The
struts are all blown out, so the
struts don't hold the hood up.
Ready?
So it just barely catches on the fender a little bit there.
This door panel's on though. This is not.
That door panel is on.
We got some flappity doodabs here.
Yeah, the tint on the back windows kind of.
And my driver window's like trash.
And the driver's window.
So the swing's really heavy and the strut's blown, so you have to hit the key fob to pop it, and then
pull it up at the same time.
Otherwise it won't make it. And then if
Those
you watch,
struts will absolutely
it will
not
kill
hold
you.
that up. It will smash your face. So we gotta figure out those struts.
those are
as well.
$60 a piece for those struts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little crappy things, and we kind of paid a lot for the car, but it's caged, spare wheels, angle, seats, interior. It's all really nice, and the AC works, the radio works, the heat works.
It's got coolers in here.
Oh, we have beer coolers?
Yeah. Sweet. Little spot for his White Claws. Then there's one over here for Brittany's tequila.
There you go. So all in all, not too bad. We do really have our work cut out for us, but normally it wouldn't be a big deal except for the fact that we have 4 days. 4 days until we have to leave to make it to Drift Week.
But we're only leaving for a day, and then we have to come back here for our E3 event. That's literally the next day.
We're gonna be going down to make the first track for Drift Week, and then we're going to come back all the way up to Utah for our E3.
Make the first track for the E3 event, and then go down and get the second track.
So while we're gone at Drift Week for those couple days, Chris actually has to get the stepchild.
So it's this one, and then that one, and then that one after another. Bang, bang, bang. I got this.
Okay, so now that Kevin spent most of a day quasi cleaning the Corvette, and I say quasi because the exterior is cleaned, the interior you did not even bother touching.
Look at that black shininess and the blue wheels.
It was a bikini car wash as well, but I know none of you guys wanted to see that, so I didn't film it this time around. I'm sorry for all of our Kevin fanboys and or fangirls. But anyways, first things first, genuinely for this Corvette that we need to do is we need to adjust the seat so that Kevin and I can actually reach the pedals, because believe it or not, neither one of us could engage the clutch all the way with the way the seat was oriented. It was actually leaned back too much. So I think we're gonna try first just to dip the front end down. But before we even get to all of that, since we have the seat out, the car came with the RaceQuip harnesses. And the fact that it had harnesses is nice, but RaceQuip is definitely not the brand of harnesses we wanna go with. One, they're extremely uncomfortable. There's no padding on them whatsoever, especially if you're talking about long distance driving, which is what Drift Week is all about. So we wanted something that was a lot more comfortable, something that was a lot more rad, and of course something that was a little bit higher of a quality of product. So we made a massive order to PRP seats. Not only for some new harnesses, which I'll show you in a second, but also for a few other things, including limiting straps for the stepchild, our Hemi Jeep Wrangler, which we've got a few things in store for her. We've never run limiting straps on it before, and you'll have to kind of stay tuned to see why we bought these, but it's gonna be pretty awesome. In addition to some brand new racing window nets for the Ultra 4 car Child's Play, because we ripped the old ones on a rock during King of the Hammers earlier this year. They're no longer certified, which means we needed new ones in order to compete at King of the Hammers 2022.
You have to certify, for some reason, I think the window nets every year, or at least the ones we got last year, there was only 1 year left on them.
Now, lucky for us, PRP seats sell those window nets as well as this right here. Now I'm super stoked about these because not only are they a new collaboration between Shreddy Life and PRP seats, which means you know for a fact they're gonna be super rad, but they're PRP harnesses, which we're super familiar with because we use them in our UTVs, which means they're extremely comfortable, and they have a few features that, weirdly enough, if you're wondering why we're buying technically what should be UTV harnesses for our drift car, we'll show you in a second. There's a cool thing about them that actually is gonna work really well for this and mean a lot less work for us in the long run to get this thing prepped for Drift Week. But let me show you guys these things. These things are so f***ing dope. Okay, so A, obviously my favorite color. B, Blake Wilkie's a rad dude, he does rad stuff. So obviously they made rad harnesses along with PRP seats, who also make harnesses, or what they're most well known for are making harnesses for UTVs, like I said, but they also make them for off-road vehicles like Jeeps, and they also make the FIA approved ones on our Ultra 4 car, which means they have a lot of history of making harnesses that are extremely comfortable for what would normally be a very uncomfortable ride.
They also make the race seats in the Ultra 4 car. They make daily driver off-road seats and some super, super comfy suspension seats that we might have on order for the stepchild.
Now, if you look closely, so these things have padding stitched directly into the shoulder harnesses, whereas the RaceQuips had nothing at all. So not only are these gonna be a lot more comfortable when we're driving across the country, but they're gonna be a lot simpler to hook into as well. If you look here, the shoulder harnesses are actually double box stitched into the lap belts themselves. So instead of having to shoulder harnesses, thread the lap belt, thread the other lap belt, or fifth belt, thread the other shoulder, and then hook it all together, that's not gonna be the case. It's swick, swick, clink, that's it. You're done. It's gonna be a lot simpler, especially with the helmet on, and especially as often as we're gonna be hopping in and out of this thing during Drift Week. Now there's one last thing as well that we'll show you on the passenger side, why it kinda helped us decide to go this route as far as UTV harnesses for a drift car. Now, first and foremost, we absolutely do not condone this for anyone, for any reason whatsoever, period. No one will tell you that this is the right way to do this. We are telling you this is not the right way to do this. We just have 2 days to get this thing fully prepped, and this was the quickest, easiest, but not necessarily the safest way to do it. So UTV harnesses like this have this center buckle right here. If you'll look behind me, although the driver's side has a really dope racing seat, this passenger seat is a stock factory seat. You never run harnesses with a stock seat. Why? Because the harnesses don't have windows to feed through to keep them into place.
Undo the chest strap and show them what would happen.
And with the race quips or most harnesses, without something to hold these pieces together, they're just eventually going to slide. They're useless. They're not, other than having a lap belt, they're absolutely useless as far as holding your shoulders into place. Again, this is by far probably one of the unsafest ways to do this, but with this here, when I'm strapped in, I'm still not gonna go anywhere. Hopefully. The reason that this was an issue was when the previous owner had this cage installed, they uninstalled the factory seatbelt, which is normally what we would obviously be using. However, the way they did this roll cage, there's no way to fit that factory seatbelt back in there. And we don't have time to find another racing seat, modify it, and get it equipped in here as well. So this was kind of our way of jerry-rigging it, MacGyvering it, figuring it out, and we're hoping it's gonna work. And it seems to do the trick.
Well, it works, but you're relying a lot on that buckle. If something
this buckle,
happens.
you know, it's a strong buckle, but it's plastic. It is not intended for this use. But welcome to the world of drifting.
I might also get like a leather belt in the back here that actually will squeeze those together as well, so that way, if something does happen, God forbid, and that buckle breaks, it'll stay over her shoulders because I'm gonna put straps in the back.
We'll figure it out, but for now, this is what we're running with. These things look at least hella dope, if nothing else.
You'll look good, Dad. Okay, so we figured out all we had to do is actually bring this hole down to here, and then we're plenty close enough. It was just leaning. You can see the height difference between that and that. So
it used to sit like that.
Way too far back.
And then we got Kevin in it, and it went
all the way down.
Like there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And he's happy with it. So
very,
we're just
very
gonna
happy with it.
Pop some new holes in there.
So we'll drill some new holes, tighten those babies down, and boom, we're ready to rock.
I have the best ichrometers in the business. Satisfy the ocean Nazis. No, ocean Nazis.
The ocean Nazis? The ocean Nazi?
3 weeks ago, this was a good bit. She ain't good anymore. Fudge.
Do 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 do. Oh, grab the step bit.
Yeah, we're just gonna go see what this one will do. Yes, some oil probably would have worked too, but I'm impatient.
What's kind of cool is I couldn't get the seat and everything out, and I was like, wait, the roof comes off. I pulled the roof off and just pulled everything right out through the top of it. And voila, that's all it took. I don't understand how I was like 3 inches from being able to like really push the clutch in to just lowering it an inch in the front, and that makes all the difference in the world. But I don't know. Well, y'all can watch me struggle putting it back in. All right, with a little finagling, it's all in. Harnesses are good. They're all secured. Got a fire extinguisher, and look at that. We got a fun hover steering wheel with a quick disconnect to bring the steering wheel closer to me. So for one extra precaution with this side, since I'm gonna have my wife over here sometimes me, I took the old race quip and I tied that belt around these belts back here on the cage. So that way it's holding it together back there so they won't slide. So it's pinching it in the rear to keep it tight on the shoulders over here.
Now next up for our Corvette build to get it prepped and ready for Drift Week, which is again only in 2 days, no drift car build is complete without it sounding loud and totally mental.
So the Vet already has a set of long tube headers on it, and they're catless as well, which isn't gonna be a big deal because this is gonna be a track car only. So it's got catless headers, long tubes, into a Street Series Performance MagnaFlow exhaust. So it already has MagnaFlow on it, but it's the Street Series, which is no resonators and 2 mufflers in the back. What we're swapping to is the Competition Series. That's going to be 2 resonators, no mufflers. So it's going to be louder, meaner, and just all around crazy, because when you've got long tubes, no mufflers, and no cats, it should scream. Now, it does sound good already. We'll go ahead and start it up and give you some sound clips, and then we'll add the new exhaust onto it and then show you what it sounds like.
So this is a cold start with the current exhaust. Now you let that baby warm up a little bit and it sounds like this.
Now, although that sounds fantastic, it actually sounds really, 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 really good. In the car, though, it's quiet, and I suppose most people would enjoy that. Kind of quiet inside, but it's screaming outside. When you've got the windows down, the top off, maybe it's a little bit louder. But after I just heard those videos of the videos that Brittany took, I was like, man, that actually sounds really good. But
It's kind of quiet.
What? I mean,
It could definitely
for
sound
who?
meaner.
For who? It's
For a
quiet?
drift car, not for who, for what? For
Yeah,
a drift
for what?
car? We can do better.
Right. So the Competition Series, like I said earlier, gets rid of the mufflers and just adds resonators to keep the rasp down, but it should scream, and that's kind of what I'm wanting, to be honest. So somehow there's a freaking Mustang on our rack all of a sudden. So it was like 2 days before Drift Week. The vet pretty close to ready to go. And Devin here, he's like, hey, I'm coming down from South Dakota. I'm passing by. Can I have some exhaust stuff shipped to your house and some wheels or some tires and a helmet? Don't forget your helmet. So and I was like, yeah, what else? He's like, oh, can I build an exhaust in your shop? Like, you got room? And so Homie just shows up, middle of the night. Open headers, just starts it off the truck and just drives it in. But the good thing is he knows how to weld. And really, yeah. Look at him, he's just going at it. Too hot. Let's go ahead and get it racked up, get the exhaust on. Chris?
Yes, sir.
Do your magic, please.
I will.
So part of the problem with having a low car, especially like a Corvette with the 4-post. What are you doing under there, Chris?
Trying to pick it up.
So you can't really grab it by the pickup points, and it doesn't also fit on the lift. So you've got to jack the rear end up super high, and then
Get creative.
and then get super creative. So he's put little wood blocks on the posts, and I don't know. Look how close the nose is to the ground. Anyway, Corvette for sale. I don't want to have to do this. Keep the blocks that you're doing. Okay, I think we got it. One last thing to keep in mind before you lift a Corvette on a 4-post lift is you want to pop the trunk and you want to pop the hood and you want to pop all the doors. All the latches need to be undone because the whole car flexy. Yeah, it's unibody and it's yeah. So yes, yeah. Basically, you just want to get the door just like so, just unpopped. All right, so I asked the guy if there's anything going on with the car. He said, no, it's all good. He did say there was a tiny little rear diff leak, but the front main seal's leaking, the rear main seal's leaking, the exhaust is smashed up. That's normal. The trans is leaking, the rear diff is leaking, so everything's leaking. All the coilovers are all rusted to absolute crap. And then from the angle, somebody didn't have wide enough spacers or the right offset wheels, and so the slower control arm is very well cut into. That could end up breaking on us, but we don't have time to swap that out. I bought a whole knuckle assembly in case a knuckle breaks. I could have bought a whole knee assembly for like another $100 more that came with upper, lower, ball joint, like came with everything, but I didn't get that because I didn't think I would need it. So we're just gonna have to send it. But yeah, no, this is not a $30,000 car. Not yet. It will be after we get done with it, I guess. But for now, I mean, it's a drift ready car, and that's what I wanted. But yeah. Well, let's just make it louder. We're just gonna make it louder so you guys don't have to hear me cry anymore. or wine or whatever. But let's let Chris get to work. What's going on over here?
It's a pile? Who does this?
So
They ground it and then spun it and then welded it on.
So what happened was this must have been down here and they ground it on the street and so it wouldn't clamp anymore. So they just like tack welded the slip fit everywhere. And
I don't even know why they even leave it on there.
They even tack welded the clamp onto there.
They were in a hurry. They didn't even bother to take it. It's loose.
Yeah, I heard an exhaust leak. That might have been it.
That's probably it.
And then the setup is all slip fit, but what kind of sucks is our new exhaust is not slip fit. So now we're gonna have to like weld V-bands or something. So this is not just a bolt-on application anymore. Yay!
I don't think anything Kevin does is a bolt-on application anymore. So this is what we did have. I need like 5 inches.
That's what she
it's
said.
like 3.5, 3 3/4, but that's as far as we can go.
Always coming up short.
Always coming up short. We might have to rework the back just a little bit,
Might have to cut
but
an inch off the back maybe.
we're gonna get it in there. Weld from the inside.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you.
You weld from the inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Would you look at that there?
Will you look at that?
Look at that.
Just look at it.
So what was super cool was we actually had the MagnaFlow builder's kit, so we were able to like take some of the stuff from the builder's kit, and Chris was able to do that, and then we didn't have to chop anything here. What's funny, the measurements, she said she wanted 5 inches, but really she was happy with what, 3.5, 4.25?
Yeah,
About 4
right
1/4?
4. I had to move this mount. Forward about 1.5 inches.
Those
So
guys
it's really
on there.
tight. So these are shoved all the way in.
They're all the way in there.
They're bottomed out.
Look at that though. That looks good. That looks so good. Let's fire that baby up. I want to hear it. So she's on and sounds freaking amazing. It's got some valve seal leaking issues, I think. The valve seals might be going. It's got a little smoke to her, but man. That is mean.
I came out here to yell at him to stop so that he wouldn't piss off our neighbors and we don't end up becoming like the hated couple on our street. But I'm gonna have him rev it a couple more times and then we'll stop. Okay, now you really have to stop because our neighbors will f***ing hate us.
That sounds,
It sounds so
incredible.
good. Oh my god. That is what a drift car should sound like.
So that's pretty much it. I got my parts in. We're gonna bring a jump in carry. I've got some tie rods, some rear tie rods. We've got some front knuckles. We got left and right front knuckles in here. Gonna bring my little workout thing, some helmets. Other than that, that's it for Drift Week for the Corvette. We're gonna be driving out tomorrow and hopefully just send it and it'll all be good. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thanks. Was totally screwing up that closeout because I flipped the phone around. The microphone was facing the other way. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. That was super fun. Drift Week's gonna be super awesome. We'll get a couple, 2, 3, 4 videos out of that. But anyways, in the meantime, thank y'all for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, you can find all of your Lite Brite Nation merch and decals at LiteBriteStudios.com. And if you need any other decals, you can still go to PixelDecals.com. He still carries the Lite Brite stuff. So anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks, Chris. You knocked that out. But now we're gonna start a Jeep video, guys. So bye. Wow, such doesn't get mad. I don't have a microphone, but screw it. So he's ready to load up. And he's got a utility trailer, and the dovetail on this is so aggressive, and this doesn't move. It only moves from there. That he can't make it. So he decided to just bomb up it, and in which he got stuck very quickly right on his exhaust right there. You can see he just smashed it, which is fine. It clearances it. Needs to happen anyway, kind of. I told him I'll just jack it up and hold the jack, and then he just drive forward. But he's adamant about doing this. This is kind of weirdly drifter life. So the goal is the goal. Okay, he's gonna just try to. Yeah. There goes your side skirt.
We don't need skirts where we're going.
Oh god.
I saw that coming.
Oh, I don't know why people think drifters are so dumb. I have no idea why people think drifters are so dumb.